Broadcasting from the Sandpiper Vacation Studio. Welcome to Parents' Night Out with no new friends. Real, raw hilarity. It's your night out without the kids. So kick back, relax, and get ready to let loose with us. This is Parents' Night Out with no new friends.
Hey, chat, we need your help. Whoever was here last week when we went off air, I was talking to you guys, the audience, the chat, about something. And I said, I'll talk about it more next week. Do you guys remember what that was? I don't care about your donut day, Ryan. What did I say?
I think it was...
This is my anniversary, I don't think. Which is not tomorrow, thank goodness. How bad you had to go poop. Don't think it was
I'm
that.
reading the...
Porn? No, don't think it was porn.
I think it was about you taking your daughter trick-or-treating.
We didn't take her trick-or-treating.
Was it trunk or treat?
I talked about how I wanted to go to a trunk or treat and it was nothing, so we didn't go. That wasn't like a...
Yeah, just always the trunk or treat, and then I think me volunteering to... I was going to talk about... Or we talk about, like, fall stuff.
Oh, I don't know if I responded to you, Nick, but I looked... I don't know if I watched...
Probably not.
I think I watched the video that you sent about we should do this. Best, like, ranking the best drinks, but not, like, literal drinks, but, like, you know, shower beer or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. Not tonight, but, like, I'd love to do that. I think that's a really fun idea.
Yeah, I don't remember. That's all right. I'll have to...
I think it's on YouTube. Yeah, it's definitely on YouTube.
I'll have to watch it back and figure it out.
Clearly it wasn't important, people.
Yeah.
By the way, Emily's been wearing that green crew neck the last, like, 3 days, off and on.
Has she?
Yeah.
Good.
You should know because I told her to send you a picture, but she probably didn't.
That's okay. I'm really bad at responding to messages.
How'd your whatnot go last night, Chris?
Really well, actually.
I would have stayed much longer, but
you
it
were
took
in there
you forever. Yeah, as soon as you went on, I was in there, but it took you forever to start any auction.
Oh, I was talking to everyone. I actually made a really good connection last night in the beginning there. Some like one of the biggest Star Wars card streamers was in there, and he's gonna help me out get started with some bigger projects I've been wanting to do. So
nice.
That was pretty cool. I didn't expect to do a lot last night because a new set just came out. And there's usually like maybe 4 streamers for Star Wars at a time, and there's been like 24 streamers at a time because of this new set. But yeah, I had a lot of first-time buyers. I had 18 different orders, 18 different buyers, and I don't know how many different orders. They're all right here right now. See, this is great. This is okay. No, that was just the labels. It was not the
thing of wine.
Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine if you spilled wine on all those cards?
That would be a nightmare. Anyway, that's why I love selling cards, though, because they just go in a little envelope and that's it. And then Dane popped in for the last 5 minutes and won the giveaway.
Nice. Nice. All right, I got to remember I don't need to say the intro because I'm just going to edit the intro in.
Oh, my gosh, Ryan.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. There are so many ways to connect with us. Right now, we are recording live on the YouTube every Monday night at about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be live on the YouTube. You can see us record this entire thing. All of our social media links are right there on our website, NoNewFriendsPodcast.com. While you're there, check out our sweet merchandise and also join our clubhouse. That's our Patreon. For as low as $2 a month, you can get exclusive benefits like early release, different giveaways, all sorts of good stuff. My name is Scott. I'm the host. With me, as always, the scumbag reselling hoarder himself, Chris.
Don't forget to vote.
The Jewish American princess, Sarah.
Hello.
Our emotional support gay, Nick.
It's a me. I'm here.
And our producer, Alex. Wait, Nick, are you not gay anymore?
I'm allowed to say that still?
Yeah,
I guess
the
we'll find
election
out.
hasn't happened yet.
Oh, okay. And the election actually hasn't happened yet, so I
Yes.
think I'm still allowed to be gay. So it's a me. I'm a gay.
Right now, you still have rights.
Okay, perfect.
That may
Wanna make
change.
sure. You never know.
You,
You never know anymore.
how was everybody's Halloween? Chris, did you take my advice and dress up 11 on Halloween? Get that candy.
No, it didn't fit in it anymore. Actually, I tried. She's growing too fast, Scott. It's crazy because she's growing quicker than I am right now, and but we are both changing outfit sizes at the same rate.
So no trick or treating for her. on
No trick or
Halloween.
treating. No. Me and Emily sat down and watched a probably top 10 movie ever made. I'll give everyone one guess. It's a top 10 movie, and it's in the thriller genre. Thriller or horror?
Thriller.
Yeah, thriller or horror.
No, the movie Thriller.
Oh no, but that's actually a very good guess, and it probably is a top 10
Nightmare on
movie.
Elm Street.
No, Sarah.
Jeepers Creepers.
Close.
know.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes, I love that.
Wow.
movie.
My first time watching it all the way through, and Emily's first time watching it all the way through, and we will be watching it every Halloween season. It is one of the most phenomenal movies I've ever watched in my life.
You did miss out on an opportunity, though. You could have been mowing down on the candy for the next 3 months.
Yeah, you are right, but I felt a little guilty, Scott, because we did. What was that face? That I felt guilty?
Yeah, why do you feel guilty about
I felt guilty that I didn't go out. No,
Oh,
I felt
good,
no, I felt guilty to go out. I can't talk tonight. It's Monday. You're making us record on Monday. My head's in the clouds.
confusing.
Right now. Yeah, I'm very off right now. I'm drinking water. So we had our Halloween candy for like 2 weeks, right? And maybe this is what I was going to talk about this week. I don't know. So it was sitting next to the door. And Emily's like, you can open and take a piece if you want. So I opened, I took a piece. And by the time Halloween came, there were no Reese's Cups. there were no M&Ms. All that was left were Almond Joys and Kit Kats, which are, every kid's favorite candy.
Those are good.
So, yeah, because you're 50.
I say I'm 40 now and I love the almond joys.
Yeah, I
this
know.
year for some
It's
reason.
like- it's like
I don't know why.
It's like the kids are like, they just leave it at the door. Like most of the Almond Joys were just at the bottom of the driveway.
Nick, the way that I eat my Almond Joy is I bite the nut out first, eat
Shocker.
the nut, and then it's pretty much a Mounds at that point.
That's the one that my kid grabs first is the Almond Joy.
Really?
Yeah, it's so
Mm-hmm.
good.
Yeah. And what's wrong with Kit Kats?
It's just, you can't eat a lot of them, I feel like. It's just a weird texture thing for me.
I beg to differ.
Right.
I'm also on medicine.
Let's take a poll here, Chris.
My waistline says different.
Yeah.
So it got so bad that I had to go to Walmart that morning to get more candy because most of it was gone. Speaking of getting more candy from Walmart, I did not take my daughter out and seize that opportunity, but I did seize the 75% off of candy today at Walmart.
Oh,
and I
nice.
bought a huge bag of 100 of the Reese's pumpkins, the big ones, for $5, and I have 100 of those sitting in my my freezer.
I say how many are left.
Yeah.
Chris, that's what I should do for next year because, I've talked about this before. Ever since 2020, we pre-bag the Halloween candy.
Right.
And every year I insist on having a bucket full of 5 bags that don't have candy in it for any kids with allergies because they do exist. They're out there.
I don't believe in that, but
Well, neither do I. But so my wife takes it a step further this year and she gets like bubbles and tattoos and stickers and like the fake vampire teeth. I'm like, this is like what dentists give out.
yeah, it's worse than
We had a lot of we got a lot of toys this year, or like little like spider rings, and like there was lots of weird things that were in there, not candy.
Yeah, the only candy that we had was like a pixie stick, a couple Dum Dums, and like these really hard. I don't know, like, but you could like build them into a skeleton or whatever, but it was hard candy. It was so gross, and I'm like, babe, what is this horse crap? Like, I'm yelling at her the whole night. I'm like, what is this? And she's like, well, Halloween candy is so expensive this year. We're saying this as we're outside of our house. And I'm like, turn around for a second. That's a $750,000 home behind us. What do you mean candy's too expensive this year? Just buy the goddamn candy. We can afford it.
You have to. Not little
I was
vampire
like, we're going to
teeth
get
is an
egged.
insult. Yeah.
We're going to get egged. Sarah, how was your Halloween?
I worked. Lewis and I got Steak and Shake, went into a food coma, and passed out.
That sounds really
That's a
nice.
true
That sounds
story.
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that was the earliest I've gone to bed in a really long time, actually.
Nick,
we didn't
what about
see a single person on our street, by the way. Not
Really?
one single person.
Really?
So I'm glad that I didn't put the effort into doing all of the Halloween stuff this year.
I'm glad that I didn't like save a seat at the dinner table for you and Lewis, because I texted 4 times. I felt like Remy. Okay,
We were
I
at
have a
work
con-
all day.
but
I'm so
it was for
sorry.
2 days. It was for 2 days. I said,
Was it? I'm
yeah,
sorry. My days
it's okay.
merge.
it's fine. I was like,
You
Rachel
work in
really
the
wants
same
you guys.
industry as I do.
Yeah. So, Chris, here's the thing. The last that we had spoke, because we went to Animal Kingdom on Wednesday. It was our
Right.
last Wednesday at the parks, and I'm like, hey, if you guys aren't doing anything, why don't you come over my neighborhood for Halloween? Like it's amazing here. We're gonna have booze.
We have
like,
vampire teeth.
We have vampire teeth. No, look, the cooler that we
Pixie
had.
sticks.
The cooler that we had for the adults was better than the kids. We had Bud Light and we had Jello shots and Liquid Death. And I was like, guys, we have Jello shots. I have tequila. Like, Sarah, I got you all set. Like, you can smoke weed in the back. It's fine. This is
Listen.
Wednesday. This is Wednesday. She says, we'll let you know. So I'm texting all day Wednesday and Thursday. Crickets. Go ahead, Sarah. What were you going to say?
Okay, it didn't feel like that, but let me tell you that, as you guys know, I am on a certain medication, and I prepared
Weed.
myself for animal. Well, that's a different one. And I prepared myself for the day at Animal Kingdom by not taking my medication because I knew I was going to indulge in a mimosa or two, and it turns out not a good idea, because when we left, it hit my system, and I was feeling it the rest of the day and into the next day. So when you sent me a picture of a cart full of tequila, I wanted to throw up.
Okay, now I feel bad. All right, well, you're
well.
excused.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Nick, how was your Halloween? Did Piper have a good time?
Piper, we broke her, I think. So I went around the neighborhood with her. Sean stayed home to pass out candy, Jello shots. And we also had spiked hot cider too, because it's cooler here.
Nice.
We're like the house everybody loves to come to. Like we had a lot
We
of
had to have
compliments
bug
on our house
spray.
because I saw that in your picture.
Yeah, we gave
It's
out
like-
bug spray.
So Florida of you.
We started, everything was fine, and then it started to sprinkle like halfway through, and Piper got pissed because she just got her hair done. Her hair was straightened. The water gets wet, it curls up. So she wasn't happy that it was raining that night. So she was ready to go home like 20 minutes into it. But we kept her going, and we're like, well, let's just keep walking. We'll kind of circle back around and circle back to the house, and I can drop you off and stay out with the other kids that we were with. And she just hopped in the wagon, covered herself up in a blanket, and just called it a night in there and just hung out. So I looked down, and I'm like, she's eating some candy as we're walking around. She finds an entire full-size Twizzler in there.
Did
It's
you
like, good
check it
for you.
Razor blades.
I didn't get a chance because what happened was, you know how with Twizzlers, you peel it off and you eat like a piece at a time. She is gnawing on it like it's
Wait, what?
like it's a candy bar.
Wait, you
and
eat
like,
Twizzlers like string cheese?
Yeah, because they're
Never
usually
in my
like
life.
you peel them off.
No,
Oh,
no,
you
no.
guys,
No,
in rows are 4 or 5.
Nah,
Yeah.
no,
we eat
no,
it
no,
just
no.
like Piper does.
Yeah, I'm a Piper guy with the.
So you eat
This
like
is-
4 at a time?
4? What are you talking about? 4?
No, you
There
just
was,
take
like,
one
eight.
and you yank it.
They come connected.
Connected. You talking about
But
the
there's,
little
like,
spirals around it?
No, the spiral, that's each individual one, but there's like
Yes.
4 connected.
What Twizzlers are you buying? Like it's like a
All
like a-
Twizzlers?
like a
Are you
candy
just
bar
eating
of
the snack?
Twizzlers?
Chris eats the snack size because he's petite.
That's my.
You can peel the Twizzler, is what
Right.
you're saying, right?
These
Yeah.
these
You
ones weren't
can
the pull and
peel-
these weren't the pull and peel. Whatever they have the pull and peel ones too that actually like pull off like individual like hair strings. This
Yeah,
is like
yeah,
the
that's
regular
different.
Twizzlers,
Yeah.
but it's like 4 pieces together.
Right.
But since it's a full size, it's 8 pieces.
Okay.
She's eating all 8 pieces at once.
Google Twizzlers now.
By
I
the-
have no idea what you guys are talking about.
And by the time that I noticed it, it's kind of like a Kit Kat, Chris.
Right.
You know how Kit Kat,
exactly.
like, there's 4 individual spots on a Kit Kat?
Yeah, Chris, do you eat your Kit
So
Kats?
there's-
Do you break it apart and eat one at a time, or do you just throw the whole thing in your mouth?
Depends how hungry I am.
He doesn't eat them, remember?
Oh,
He
he
passes those
doesn't.
up.
Sarah, Twix, or Kit Kats, do you break it apart
Yeah.
and eat it, or just the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm looking at a Twizzler
No, I
right
break
now,
it.
and they look pretty. Just like a. I don't understand the. Just,
No,
it's a
I
stick.
understand what you're
Halloween
saying
packs.
now. I know what you're saying now because they come with individual Twizzlers and they come in like
Yeah.
a pack.
Even
with
the
4.
Halloween ones come with like a 2-piece, I think, in it.
Yeah,
my
they're
God.
connected.
Yeah. But yeah, this was full size. So moral of the story is by the time I looked down, because I was very inebriated that night, and high, she was like halfway through this Twizzler already. And that was like within a matter of like 10, maybe 5 houses. So, so she had a fun night there. But afterwards, we went and hung out with our neighbors. We had a really awesome time. It was a new tradition that we like to do is just hang out with our neighbors afterwards and just share candy and eat lots of food. So,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
So my daughter has outgrown me walking with her. She's 12, and I kind of got the sense last year that last year was the last year that I was going to be able to walk around with her. But I'll tell you what, I was really excited about it because, you know, I put a lot of work into decorating my yard. We've got animatronics and smoke effects and music and all that. It's a pretty cool thing. So I wanted to be able to actually enjoy people complimenting my house this year. So we moved the cars out of the driveway. We had a whole table set up on the driveway, and you know, handing out the beer and the toys. Not really candy, but you know, my daughter gets back home and this is how advanced she is. She starts separating her candy. Like that's supposed to be my job, right? I look
Right.
through, make sure there's no razor blades. I separate the candy. No, she separates it into like 4 different Ziploc bags. And I'm like, what organization do you have going on here? And she's like, well, this is the stuff I'm allowed to bring to school. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she says, and this is my save for later. This is my eat now. And this is what you can have. And like what I can have is like the orange Tootsie Rolls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like just the Dum-Dums and the Suckers, like nothing good.
It's like saying I hate you without actually saying it.
Right. I was like, okay, well, I'll remember this. But you know, Chris, you were talking about scary movies earlier.
Yeah.
And my Abby turned me on to a movie. We lost Nick. Hang on. Okay, there he is. We lost you for a second. So Abby turned me on to a movie, and she's obsessed with the Menendez brothers.
Really? That's a little alarming,
Yeah.
actually.
What?
My kid is Dahmer, if that's any better.
I mean,
Okay.
Dahmer didn't kill his parents.
Right. Well, oh yeah. I'm very concerned. Like, you know, there's this whole TikTok craze going on there with like free the Menendez brothers because, you know, times have changed or whatever, and there's new evidence.
It's
I don't
okay
know.
now. Yeah,
It's okay now. It's okay now. So, like, my daughter has this massive crush on Eric Menendez.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm like, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch the documentary. I watched the documentary and I was like, wow, this was horrifying. But I understand why they're getting so much sympathy now because, you know, they talked about the sexual abuse that they went through and all that. And back then in the 90s, like, it, you know, men weren't sexually abused.
Oh.
Like, that was just women. Okay. But now now anybody can be sexually abused. You know, the Catholic Church shed light on that. Let's hold for laughter.
You said it
and
very
then-
serious. I thought you were educating us, actually.
So she's talking about this this guy that plays Lyle Menendez in the Ryan Murphy Netflix series. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch this. The documentary was super interesting. Sarah, have you seen the Menendez brothers miniseries called Monsters on Netflix?
I haven't seen that particular one. No.
Okay. So Abby is telling me how great it is, and she's like, oh my God, you got to watch it. You're going to love it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll watch it. And in episode 3, there's a shower scene with just schlongs everywhere.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, Abby, did you watch this? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, all of it? She's like, yeah. And then the very next scene, they're talking about how the father made the son give him oral sex, but they're very graphic about their description of what happened. I'm like, oh my God, my 12-year-old has watched this.
Can you give me the timestamp of that episode? Because I need to go back and rewatch it. I don't think we've gotten that far yet. Yeah.
We've gotten that far, Nick.
Okay.
We've definitely got that far.
And immediately I'm having flashbacks to one of our hosts, I don't remember who, letting her kids watch Pet Sematary and all that. And I'm like, oh my God, like I have failed as a parent. Like I'm not pre-screening these things. This was a recommendation from her. She's like, oh, you got to watch the Menendez show.
That's pretty alarming. I see. What are you more afraid of? That your daughter was exposed to all of that sexual, content on the thing, or the fact that she idolizes someone who killed their parents? Like both are equally as alarming, I think.
I am sleeping with one eye open every single night since this information has come to light.
Has she always been into like scary stuff?
She's always
or is
been
it
into
newer?
scary stuff, yes. But there is a TikTok craze with the Menendez brothers, and that's where I think her obsession started. And so, like, I'm talking to her in the car, and I'm like, sweetheart, you watched this entire movie or this entire show? She's like, yeah. And she's like, oh, my favorite episode was this one, naming it. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, I don't know. And I say this because I'm not thinking. I said, I don't know how I feel about you watching shows with schlongs all over the place. And of course, her face gets beet red. Dad, I can't believe you said that. Sarah, have you had this problem with your girls at all?
No, I don't think I will for a while. I hope. I don't know how I would handle that either. But I mean, in that specific scenario, because with the dark stuff, that's totally my kids.
The dark stuff, fine, but the
But
like
schlongs.
can
Can you describe the schlongs for me?
very long.
Okay. So you're
The-
jealous.
The
ahead,
image
Sarah.
of it, like I wouldn't, that I wouldn't be okay with, obviously. But I will say that I watch a lot of crime shows, and my kids have watched them with me, and they've heard these words. And I mean, we explain to them, things that go on in the world. We don't shelter them from anything. So, talking about it is one thing, but seeing all that, yeah, no. Probably would have lost my mind for a second.
That's the thing. Anytime, like, I'm fine with her watching scary movies or whatever, but if there's a sex scene, if there's boobs or whatever, I'm always covering her eyes. Or like she knows she's got to go out of the room during the sex scene. But I had no warning. Even for myself, just all of a sudden, schlongs in my face. And I'm like, oh my God, these schlongs were in my daughter's face.
Yeah,
From the TV. It's from the TV. And I'm horrified. I'm horrified. And every time she talks about this show,
All you think about is schlongs.
I'm sick to my stomach because she's seen these schlongs.
You know what? you got to look at the glass half full. At least it's not like 2010 when 3D TVs were all the rave. Could you imagine? Could you imagine walking in and she's wearing 3D glasses? What are you watching? Just the Menendez brothers doc.
No, she's got the virtual reality goggles on now.
I'm a crime junkie. What can I say?
I mean, I remember my first time that I've seen a movie with boobies in it was Tommy Maguire. Was it Tommy Maguire? Yeah.
Jerry Maguire?
Jerry Maguire. Yeah. That one. When they had the sex scene, so my mom flipped out on the manager at Kmart because of that movie. They were playing that movie in the middle of Kmart.
Oh, that's
like
pretty
when they had like all those
crazy.
TVs.
Was Bill Clinton
It's a rated.
president?
It's a rated R movie,
It was
probably.
okay.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
okay. It was fine.
It was rated R, but everything else was fine. It was just that one sex scene. So my mom finally let us watch it. I remember one day, and I've never looked at a woman the same.
Jerry Maguire turned you gay.
Yeah. Tom Cruise turned me gay.
My first movie with boobies was Lethal Weapon 2.
Wow.
There's a sex scene. Yeah, and I'm watching it with my dad. And gosh, I don't know how old I was. I had to be 10, 11, 12 maybe. And I was like, oh, this is my kind of movie. And he immediately paused it, and we had to have the talk.
Wow. Did he pause mid-boob?
Mid-boob.
Wow. That's a pretty hard conversation to have, literally.
Yeah, it was, because I'm just looking at the boob.
Wow.
And
It's
so
not
then
the
he's like,
nicest I'd
hey,
call
are
your
any of
dad
your
that.
friends having sex? I'm like, I don't know. I'm 12. Like, what? Chris, do you remember your first booby movie?
So I don't remember the first nipple boob movie, but I do remember it was very controversial when Jurassic Park 3 came out. And they had one of the stars of the movie take their shirt off, and they were just wearing a bra, and that was very controversial because it was a PG-13 movie, and they're like, "Oh, kids shouldn't be able to see this." But I remember going to the theaters and watching that movie, and it was very awkward because I was with my mom.
Oh,
Yeah, but yeah, no, the first boob movie, it's a really good, probably like Toy Story 2. Director's cut.
I took my mom to see Something About Mary. That was
Oh, is that the one with the
Awkward. With the scene with the hair gel.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a hard one to come back from. Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah, do you remember your first booby movie? She's like, Lewis and my sex tape.
I watched Titanic at a young age, but I also come from two parents in the medical field, so anatomy were not like that's just not something you're shy of, you know. My
Yeah.
dad used to like be immature, and we'd be walking around the museum or something, and he'd point at one of the statues and, oh look, boobies. Like, you know, that was just everything was, you know, because that's their everyday life. But I do remember that there was one time my mom took me to see Forgetting Sarah Marshall in theaters, and we had no idea. She just thought it was going to be like a comedy, and I had my eyes shielded for most of that movie.
Yeah.
So
You
I
probably don't
remember
even
that.
remember it.
I remember what caused my mother to put her hands over my eyes. And then from there was nothing but blackness.
Oh, I think you were watching the wrong movie. Then. The Menendez brothers movie.
I think I actually remember my first nude movie. It was I was watching it at home. I was 8 years old. My parents were watching Open Water. And
Okay.
open water, the air
Never heard of
conditioning
it.
goes out in the boat, and this woman's just laying there, butt naked, spread eagle, and it's got this big old bush. And I'm like, wow, didn't know you could show bush on movies. And that was
I
the first.
definitely saw some 70s porn in my day. It's very traumatic.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to see that. I think I'd be
don't.
gay if I saw that.
Yeah.
There used to be a website. It was like MrSkin.com.
Yeah.
or
It
something.
told you how. Yeah, I
What
actually have
movies-
no idea what you're talking about.
But it was what movie at what time period, you can
Yeah.
pause it and see side boob or
Yeah.
half a nip or whatever. God, I love
Yeah,
that
put that in the
website.
description. That's a good one.
That and findaceleb.com. That was a fun.
That's like when you're in 5th grade. It's one of those websites. Hey, you want to go Mr. Skin?
yeah,
And then
yeah,
you can
yeah.
see exactly. You got to run to Blockbuster real quick and look for the movie.
Yep.
And the other 5th
Sarah, you
grade
were gonna say
bros already
something?
got it.
Created for men or by men for men.
Yes.
Well, because we didn't have
100%.
we didn't have porn back then. Like Sean and I used to
we
get
had porn back then. We just didn't have easy.
we had
access to it.
magazines.
There were VHS tapes.
Well, when you're under the age of 18 and you can't purchase
Oh yeah,
said
we can't get
tapes.
those. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
have to go
But-
to MrSkin.com.
And also when you're in the closet and you can't find them in a small town either. So
That's true.
yeah, we had to make our own. In the gay community, we had to make our own. Basically, like we would go.
So you draw stick figures.
No, you buy underwear like Calvin Klein or Hanes even, and just get excited to the Hanes ad.
Oh, what a good idea! You were playing like
Yeah.
4D chess back in 1990s. It's like,
Like
wow.
that's what we used to. That was our spank
Then,
bank back then.
then your parents are like, you went through like 6 different packages of
lot of
underwear in the
underwear.
last month, and why are all your socks going missing?
That's
think
we
you just
we,
broke
we lived up
Sarah.
big. I mean, it was a rough time back in the 90s. They were growing up gay with nothing to look at. So yeah, like those movies back then were like, now it's easier. Like it's hard to find TV shows for us to watch that don't have any sort of nudity in it, I feel, because everything we watch is on Netflix or Hulu. So like you saying that there's dicks flopping around, like hasn't that been around for what's the show?
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones and stuff. That was like every episode there was always a dick.
Yeah, I think Game of Thrones normalized putting the penis
Just-
in, and I was like, that was like the first thing that I ever like, because you didn't see below the waist, male or female, because that was porn.
Occasionally you'd see a butt.
Just you'd see a
Yes.
butt or boobies.
You're allowed one
Yeah.
butt in PG-13 movies. I remember you're allowed one butt scene.
Yeah,
Yep.
more than one. It can't be. It's
More
18
than
and
one.
up.
Yep. NC-17. Why didn't you watch so back in the 90s? Why didn't you just watch wrestling? Just mute it.
I did. I think I watched
Ah.
wrestling because of the attraction there.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine.
Between that
And he
and
does. He does imagine.
I wasn't saying that
I mean,
figuratively.
I found my parents' videotapes, but
Wait,
but the guys in straight porn are
You have
not
to clarify,
attractive.
Nick. You have to clarify.
please clarify.
My dad used to have some porn on VHS.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I found the
He purchased at a
You've-
store, not home videos.
Yeah, you thought
No,
we
sounded-
no,
it
no,
sounded-
no, yeah.
As soon as you said my parents' home videos,
No,
like that.
here's how cheap my parents were, or whoever made these.
Sarah
They
Lewis got to be careful with their daughters.
they probably
separate
bought the
VHS.
tapes. They bought the tapes and then re-recorded them onto their own VHS tapes to keep them. So they weren't the real VHS tapes. So he must have rented it and like re-recorded it or some shit. So
Oh, that was like the biggest craze in the 80s. You have 2 VCRs, you
Yeah,
hook
yeah.
them together, and you record what you rented onto another VHS. So illegal. We never did that.
we never did that. But yeah, so, yeah, guys are just not attractive in this. So those didn't turn me on.
Yeah, Nick pops in his like baptism video, and it's what you re-recorded it for my baptism. Wait, stepsister next door. What is this?
We had the Little Mermaid on VHS, and then like 30 minutes into it, all of a sudden there was a guy banging. So yeah,
No, it was still The Little Mermaid, just a different. Okay, well, back to kids and Halloween. Coolest costume you guys saw?
Well, I'm out because I didn't see one single costume.
I'm gonna have to say, there's so many families as Gru and the Minions.
Oh yeah, that's still a thing, huh?
Yeah, that was a thing, and there was one family that like like pulled it off. He was bald. The kids looked adorable. I think that was like the coolest one for me.
Yeah, I feel like the creativity around here just lacked, and it was all like store-bought costumes, so it wasn't anything standout-ish.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go a little 180 on this, and I'm gonna say I think a lot of the costumes this year sucked. Like, I think when we grew up, it was better. And I don't know if it's like,
So we had those cheap plastic masks that you couldn't breathe through.
yeah, they were the best. It's just
With the
sweat would just be
tiny-
rolling down the inside of the latex mask.
Now they have like a mask that you can actually keep on your face and breathe through and see
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
But in our day, it was literally plastic that probably gave us cancer.
With the really cheap elastic band.
Oh yeah.
That was just
Awful.
stapled, so the staples sticking
Yeah.
into your temple. Yeah. My mom made my costumes every year. Like, she would buy a template or whatever, because that's what you did. You bought the pattern, and she'd sew it all together. I was a soda can one year.
Yeah. A soda can.
That's how you became addicted.
That is how I became addicted. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
you're-
Sarah was a joint.
Yeah, I didn't see anything too crazy around here. There's one house that went like all out with decorations. They had giant spider webs and spiders outside, and then in their garage they turned it into like a little like haunted house type thing with like spiders that would jump down at you, and
wow.
then a
Oh,
couple of
that's cool.
coffins with skeletons in it. So that was really cool to see. But we're trying to build it up around here because I've seen so many other neighborhoods out there that just do some fun things with it. So hopefully next year we'll get it. We'll
Very
get some
cool.
meatballs or something fun.
All right, let's see what's new with Giles Garman.
And now it's time for The More You Know. And here's your host, Giles Garman.
Hello there, Giles Garman here, and I'm letting you know about the next episode of Into the Disneyverse, where you can hear all about the Universe of Energy and Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. That's right, the original version of the attraction was about 45 minutes long, and it was one of Disney's earliest trackless attractions, although quite different from the trackless attractions one sees today. And to give you a little pep in your step, here's a little song interlude that'll give you your little bit of energy of your own.
It's the Power Rangers?
18 naked cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch. Big herd throbbing cocks wanting to be sucked.
Better not play that when Christian Cardoza from Studio 21, the baseball podcast, is around. Why, you ask? Because he's homophobic. As a reminder, you can check out Into the Disneyverse. That's DIZNEYVERSE on all podcasting platforms. New episodes release every Monday. And that's all from me, Giles Garman.
Oh my god.
What?
I feel like I need to explain.
Yes.
Because he's made a
Yes.
couple references. Okay, so there's a host of another podcast, and I'm not going to give it attention, but we used to promote the podcast. It's about baseball. And he said right before June on the podcast that he hates June because, and I don't quote me on this, but essentially all of the rainbow being shoved down my throat. And I took offense to that. I got pissed off about it. Well, I didn't know until Sophisticated Gentleman put it into his bit at the beginning of baseball season, saying how he hates baseball season because everybody's throwing balls and bats down his throat. Essentially making fun of what was said. So that was in reference to that. I'm very pissed off about it. I refuse to do any projects with the guy, whether it's Diz Journey or Remy's Roundtable 15th Anniversary Edition. If he's there, I won't be. So that's that, and we move on. But you know, the thing is you want to make jokes. Because we make jokes all the time. We make gay jokes. We make Jewish jokes. We make short, fat people jokes about Chris. We make bald, old people jokes. We do that, but we're laughing with each other. to make a statement like that, especially when one of our mutual friends and supporters of all of our podcasts is gay, I thought was a direct shot, even though it may not have been intended to, but I took offense to that for Nick, because Nick's my brother, and
More like a sister, but yeah.
more like a sister, more like a sister. But you know, I'm just not. You can have your opinions, but once you make them public like that, and I don't have time for you. Anyway, so that was that. That's the behind the scenes.
Speaking of shoving rainbows down your guys' throats, I think it's my turn to talk. So move. I'm gay.
Nick's on the mic, so it's time to take notice. And if you don't like it, that's homophobic. Stay the hell out of his way. Move, I'm gay.
So I don't think this is really that gay that I'm talking about, but I had a cheerleading competition this weekend,
Oh,
That's pretty gay.
and I wanted to talk about it. Is that gay? Is that gay?
You had a cheerleading
Little bit.
competition.
I mean, I wasn't the one cheerleading. My daughter
Okay.
was.
Okay.
So as a parent, but I'm also the cheerleading coach, as we
That's a
talked
little
about
gay.
previously. So slightly gay, I guess.
I would say 90%.
Yeah, I'm the only male around.
That is very
so,
gay. Super gay.
so super gay. So yeah, so we had our very first of 3 cheer competitions this past weekend. It was luckily this one, it was called an expo, so we weren't judged on anything. So we just did our presentation, and everybody got a award ribbon at the end, and everybody was happy. Nobody left crying.
Those
But
damn
next-
liberals with their participation trophies.
Yeah, we got our participation trophy, but next weekend and the weekend after, we have actual competitions where we have to place. So I'm nervous because I'm very competitive, but on top of being competitive, I don't really have the control here because the control's in the hands of first and second graders, guys. So picture this: 15 first and second graders. All of them pretty much have ADHD. I'm just going to throw it out there. The attention span is not there ever. It's like, as a coach, have any of you ever coached anything before?
Yep. I coached Darren's soccer team when he was like 6 years. Wait a
When
second,
it's-
Alex, cut that. That doesn't run with the narrative that I abandoned him. I coached somebody else's son's soccer team, my friend's son's soccer team, when
Oh, okay, yeah.
he was like 4 or 5.
I coached Bubba Job in a simulated Madden league a couple years ago.
It's not easy to coach young children because their listening span is very, very, very short. To the point that I'm literally having a conversation with one of the girls. I'm like, this is how you need to do your cartwheel and do it this way, so that go down a straight line and not cut across other people just for safety reasons. So her response to me saying that was, how old are you? I didn't. I was like, listen, you don't ask a man his age. First. Second, we're talking about a cartwheel here. So do the cartwheel right and get it right, because we have a competition to win. So I guess I need advice on how to motivate children.
Candy. Candy.
I did
Just
that.
not from a white van.
Not from a white van or man?
Yeah. Van.
Yes.
Yes. And that's funny thing. So at our competition, stickers and candy, these kids are obsessed with. I talked about this. We have a girl on our team. She's kind of my spirit because she's such a fun vibe. She doesn't want to be there, to be honest. She's just like her mom's.
Nick's like, neither do I. And she chugs his
Yeah.
drink.
It's like I
Her
feel
mom,
Tito's and soda.
her mom signed her up. I get it. It's a lot of these kids first year doing any sort of activity on a team. And her mom signed her up. I could tell from the beginning of the season that she was gonna be a character. The very first practice, we're outside practicing on the football field. And this little girl's like 10 minutes in the practice. She's like, are we done yet? I just want to lay out and sunbathe.
Hey, girl.
That's amazing.
I was like, me too, girl. Me too. I would rather be at the pool right now, but I'm here volunteering my time, so I need you to help out a little bit too. So I've learned those tricks too. So at the competition this weekend, literally 2 minutes before we're ready to go on the mats
The
to compete.
expo was not a competition.
The expo, sorry. I want it to be a competition because I think we did really good. 2 minutes before we got out there, she's sobbing. She's like, I want my mom. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. And what do I say? I say, we're going out there and I'll give you candy afterwards. What happens? She flips around. She had the biggest smile on her face. She
Nice.
nailed it.
Turns out she's diabetic and can't eat.
So yeah. I didn't give her any candy. I let
Nick's
her mom
like
do
Tom
that.
Hanks. Just there's no crying in cheerleading. There's
Yeah.
no crying in cheerleading.
Like, don't mess around with me. Like, we're here to compete, and this is what you signed up. Well, your parents signed you up for, so let's do it.
I feel like Nick is the coach. Will Ferrell's character in
Kicking and Screaming?
Kicking and Screaming. Yeah, he hires Mike Ditka to coach, and that's Nick.
Yeah,
You need a Mike Ditka, Nick. You know what that is?
I don't. Bless you.
You got to
Who?
instill some fear into these girls, Nick. You say what motivates kids, fear does. You crack of the belt. Your dad ever do that growing up? Take off the belt,
No.
never hits you. All you need is that crack of the belt. So all you need is these empty threats. Empty threats.
And I've tried them, and half time they don't work.
They're probably not listening.
They're probably not listening.
probably just not
most
listening.
likely. Yeah, it's very entertaining. I'm excited. I'll update you guys next week on how we do at our competition on Saturday because we better do good. We watched the video afterwards, and of course the coach was like, they did great, but here's what we can fix for next time. I'm all about giving them the support they need. They're like, oh my gosh, how did we do? And we're like, you guys did amazing. And as the coaches, we're like, okay, so we need to fix this. But I mean, we're looking at it as it's a team, it's a sport. We want to be the best that we can be.
Is it a
so
sport?
it is, and I wish people would treat it like that because we are sweating. Listen, I was so dehydrated afterwards, and I felt like I was cheerleading. Probably because I was yelling at the kids half time just to sit
It's
down.
because semen is very high in sodium, Nick.
I didn't have any that day.
I like how you had to think about it.
It's like,
I missed my daily
what day was that?
dose.
Yeah, that's what I was missing. Yeah, I was. It's a busy, rough activity. I mean, we had kids getting injured. Piper hit her head one day. Thanks for asking about that. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Oh, is she okay?
It's a rough sport. Thanks for asking. I'm glad that you're concerned. She's okay now. She did hit her head when she went down to get on the floor to do a bug move, but she's good. She's doing better. Yeah. Sarah, how's your hand?
Oh, much better. Thank you, guys.
I do remember what we teased at the end of the episode last week.
About my daughter hitting her head.
Yeah, Chris, your daughter almost hit her head, right?
Yeah, so we're hanging out on the couch.
And what were you doing?
So, oh man, I almost forget. So Ellie was on one part of the couch, sitting up, really cute. It was really cute. Like it looked like she was like an adult just sitting there. So I just
And
was
she's how old now?
5, a little over 5 months, and I was at Walmart. They had this mega box of Garbage Pail Kids box for cards for $12, and that's a really good deal. So they're usually $30. So I grabbed a few of them, and I'm ripping these things to shreds, and trying to find a good card. Which I found some great cards, guys. Found Winnie the Pooper. I found Thing Sue and Thing Juan. Really great cards. For the YouTube people at home, you can see they're great cards. So I was a little sucked into ripping these cards, and in the corner of my eye, Ellie starts barrel rolling towards the edge of the couch. And when I say edge of the couch, off the couch, she just barrel rolled. You would think there was a fire. She stopped, dropped, and rolled so quickly. Very impressive, actually. Some are saying it's the quickest barrel roll ever for a baby.
Many are saying.
Many people are saying that. I've never seen a barrel roll like that in my life. So I listen.
Because her dad looks like a barrel.
I selflessly dropped the pack of cards that I was opening and dove and caught her very athletically, might I say, on 1.5 legs because I am still recovering from an insane injury. And there was a huge bang on the floor, and Emily came running up the stairs. And of course, Ellie, because she's a baby, starts crying. And she wasn't hurt. I broke her fall. She bumped her head a little bit, but it wasn't from the couch. It was from like 3 inches off the ground. And I told her to rub some dirt on it. She stopped crying. And see, maybe that's what you have to do, Nick. Is just tell your girls to rub some dirt in it whenever they start. She also.
The thing is, they would eat the dirt.
Oh, see that?
I had one of them literally eating dirt one day. I don't know what's. We've told them like, okay, if you guys don't do this, you have to run 5 laps, and they're like, okay. And like, you have to do 10 push-ups.
nice
They're like,
day.
okay. I'm like, what?
Before I make myself sound bad, first of all, I didn't tell her to rub some dirt in it because there was no dirt around, so it would have been unrealistic. Father of the Year candidate over here. We have 1 more month to go of this year. 2 more months, I guess. And I'm a Father of the Year candidate now. I wish there was a camera in my living room because it was a spectacle. And I'll tell you what, if the garbage can gets moved without me knowing to the curb one more time, there might be a camera in my living room. So until that happens,
I have one in your bedroom already, so we can
pull
use
the tape.
that
Pull the
out there
tape.
so if you need.
Pull the tape. It was around noon this past weekend. No, yeah. So it was at a. I don't know if anybody watched football this weekend who's listening, who watched Saquon Barkley do the backwards hurdle. That was nothing compared to what I did. It was the most impressive thing. Like I still think about it like at least 6 times a day. I think, wow, that was a really impressive feat. Oh, Big Beautiful Diz just chimed in. Don't worry, there's a camera. Thank you. Perfect. So yeah,
He's a subscriber.
I saved my daughter from a concussion. I saved my daughter from CTE.
I'll vote for you.
I literally saved my daughter from becoming Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, wow.
Think about it. Or
That
O.J.
escalated
Simpson.
real fast.
Or
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson.
Yeah,
I saved 2 lives that day.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Hey, Chris,
hey, Scott,
you got any Cliff Notes?
I do. Is he really?
Yeah.
It's been quite the show. A lot of stuff's happened, so nothing can stop this little boy from recapping the day. The Chris's Cliff's Notes way.
I'm the only one that listens.
Hey guys, where's my Cliff Notes? Here we are. So we started off the show talking about Halloween this year. When Scott asked Sarah and Lewis to come over, they weren't doing anything. Sarah replied with, "I'll let you know." Statement "I'll let you know" has become my favorite saying of all time, by the way, because it gives someone hope without actually ever doing anything. Kind of like Joe Biden. Scott sent me a video of what he claimed to be the scariest house in his neighborhood, and it took me a long time to figure out why he thought it was scary. I finally zoomed in. There was just a lawn sign that said, "No human being is illegal." I guess that's scary to Scott. I don't know. Scott said that his daughter is outgrown following her around on Halloween. The rest of the kids in Scott's neighborhood can't wait until they outgrow it as well. We talked about how Scott has been sleeping with one eye open after his daughter watching the Menendez brothers doc came to light. Ironically enough, hearing about the show, it sounds like she saw the Menendez brothers come to light.
Oh my God. That's my daughter you're talking about, Chris.
I'm talking about the Menendez brothers, all right?
Okay, the Menendez brothers.
Put some parental locks on your TVs, damn it.
Apparently, the parental locks don't work, Chris.
Speaking about
Or I
parental
don't know
locks,
how to use them.
We talked about how lastly, I forgot to do that. And lastly, we talked about how Nick's parents recorded over VHS movies to record porn. They even renamed the Disney movies they recorded over. So here's actually some of the titles that they came up with.
Oh.
Peter Pansexual. The Jungle Fever book. The Little Spermate. Mighty Joe Hung. Cumbo. Butt Pirates of the Caribbean. And Toy Story. And those are my clip notes.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Bravo.
Hang on 1 second.
If I didn't use the name Grinding Nemo in a previous joke, I would have used that one. It's my favorite one of all time. Grinding Nemo.
Keep using it.
I love things like that.
It's the best.
I love that.
That was perfect.
So next week, I want to talk about, and don't give the answer away because I'm going to try to guess who in here is a helicopter parent and who is not. Because I do have my suspicions on each of you. So I definitely want to talk about that. Nick, you got anything fun coming up with Piper this week?
Yeah, like I said, we're getting ready for our first official, I guess, competition since we can't call the last one a competition. So we have 2 competition practices coming up and then our big day on Saturday. So we are up against 5 tough teams of first and second graders who's going to get their ass kicked. So I'm excited.
Sarah, what kind of plans do you have with the girls?
Actually, Lewis starts his vacation on Wednesday. So he's got a vacation for a week and a half, and we have the girls for a little extra time. So we have some stuff planned. Family's all coming over for the first time to the new house. The whole
Nice.
well, not the whole family, but enough to fit in the house, and that's good enough for right now.
So when you say Lewis is on vacation, that means he's only working 2 of his 3 jobs?
Yeah, exactly.
Chris, what kind of fun things do you guys have planned this week?
Not much this week, but last week we spent a night out in the city, just Emily and I. We had her mom watch the baby. And the whole dinner, we just looked at pictures and videos of Ellie and then also watched in the live camera to make sure everything was going properly.
I already have my guess for what type of parent Chris and I are. This is what's spawning this topic because I thought of it last week when the whole barrel roll off the couch thing. And I was like, oh, this would be fun. So I'm in the middle of negotiating with my 12-year-old because she's...
Scott, you don't negotiate with terrorists.
Well, in middle school, they're terrorists. She's on phone restriction for her grades because it was either she was on phone restrictions until after Junior Thespians or she would have to lose either Junior Thespians or the show. So she chose phone restrictions through Junior Thespians. Well, I keep getting notes home from her math teacher that she's misbehaving. So I tacked on another week. Well, now she wants to have a sleepover with one of her friends this weekend. And
another thespian?
No, a band kid.
What are they called?
Nerds. So, so I should say no. You cannot go and have the sleepover because she's in the middle of restrictions. But no, I'm negotiating, and I'm like, okay, you can do this with your friend, but. Like this has to be done around the house. This has to be done. This has to be done. This has to be done. And I'm tacking on an additional week of phone restriction after Thespians. This is what happens. It's constant negotiating with her. So anyway, what do I do now? Oh, Alex, where can our listeners find you? Nick?
You can find me at Sandpiper Vacations on all social media platforms and at Emotional Supports Gay Nick on Instagram.
Sarah?
You can find me at Old Soul Thrift on the Whatnot and the Instagram.
Chris?
You can find me at Chris Yob on both Instagram and Whatnot.
And you can connect with all of us. All of our social media links are right there on our website, nonewfriendspodcast.com. If you listen to us on Spotify or Apple, it's under Parents Night Out now. Make sure you like and give a 5-star review. Like, follow, all that good stuff. While you're on our website, check out our really sweet merchandise and join our clubhouse for as low as $2 a month. All that exclusive content, early releases, and different prizes and whatnot. On behalf of Giles Garman, our producer Alex, Nick, Sarah, Chris, I'm Scott. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you later, poopy head. I still have to get Piper to record.
Hey, thanks everybody so much for.
Make sure you guys vote.
Yeah, if you haven't already,
Go
early
votes.
voting was like a huge thing this year for some reason.
Yeah.
Is that from
massive.
is that from COVID? Like, is that like a COVID thing, or is that always?
I
like
think
that?
people realized how easy it was to early vote,
Uh,
and that the wait times are usually. a
I
little
like
bit
getting the
lower.
spirit on election day. Election day is like a spectacle for me. I always find election day very like fun and exciting.
Why didn't we talk about this?
don't know.
Yeah, same here. I'm very upset that I have to close tomorrow night, but I will be watching CNN from work.
Sophisticated Gentleman and I are going to be drinking wine in a Zoom call, watching election coverage all night.
Oh,
very
so
excited.
jealous.
Yeah, I'm very excited. We may stream it somewhere.
I say get on
Yeah,
TikTok.
I think we're gonna stream it, but it's gonna be all unbiased, just watching and reacting to CNN and kind of maybe making predictions into who's gonna win what states and stuff, and doing the maps and everything. We're each like we're both history nerds, so we're both filling out electoral college maps for predictions and stuff like that. And I wanted to do a contest with the Disneyverse Discord, but nobody was interested. They don't like politics.
I don't like sports either.
I said I put in there. I said, hey, whoever gets closest, if we get 5 people for like whoever gets the closest for an electoral map, can win a free T-shirt. And no, with crickets, which is fine. But I thought it would be fun because we all live in the same country, so it's kind of like I just think that stuff's kind of fun. But anyway, normal commercials again. Yes, Jaws. That's exactly what I'm most excited
Text
for.
messages. Oh my god.
Yeah, I keep getting texts from my township about this damn
emails.
sewer thing.
Do you guys have like a crazy person in your state that they are just blasting?
Like
For a politician.
No, not this year. We have had them in the past.
We had this guy, and now like there's memes going around about him too, and it's getting entertaining.
Kamala Harris spent a lot of money in Florida. We
Yeah,
ended up getting mostly.
She spent a lot of money
mostly
on
pro Harris.
Sunday Night Football or Sunday Football. There's like a 90-second commercial every. Like, I almost like there was a commercial for her every commercial break in football. I'm like, she's gonna lose all these football watchers because they're gonna hate her by the end of the day. Yeah, gonna be really
She
interesting. I can't wait to watch Wolf Blitzer just stunt on everybody tomorrow night.
It's gonna be interesting because doesn't Missouri usually go red?
I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting because Missouri, I feel like, will now go blue because of Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. I think
We'll see.
I think the only celebrity endorsement that could actually, I don't think it's going to change much, but that actually has any merit would be Taylor Swift because her followers it's a cult. Like, it's a literal cult. Yeah. I don't think there's any other celebrity on her level that could be like, vote for this person, and they'd be like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Or yes, sir. I don't think there's anybody else. Michael Jackson, I think, was on that level. I think Taylor Swift was on that level. I don't know who else. Who else
Taylor
is on
Swift,
that, like, cult level?
Because I don't even think LeBron James.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because he doesn't have a cult fan. Like, his followers on a cult. I love
Oh, I
LeBron
know.
James, but I would never
Donald
listen
Trump.
to anything.
Oh.
So
That's a
that is a
cult.
celebrity cult. No, but like, think about it. Like, there's no like superstar. Taylor Swift. I think Michael Jackson will be in that conversation. Michael Jackson had a weird cult-like following.
Lady Gaga-ish.
No, yeah, I don't
She-
think so. Not
It's like
anymore.
Gaga
For sure.
was, but yeah.
For sure was.
Yeah, not to the level of Taylor Swift.
Never forget, I was at Chris's house when Biden dropped out of the race. Yeah, that was, you were. Yeah, there's no other, like, culty person. I'm trying to think. The Beatles were a cult. They had cult, right?
Yeah.
They were 60s. 70s, I don't really know. But
Elvis.
maybe, yeah. But, like, yeah, like women crying for Michael Jackson.
Yep.
Like in the streets outside his
Yeah.
hotel room.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift is that today. I don't know anybody else.
I can't think of anybody else.
Definitely not any movie stars.
No, Taylor Swift is the biggest pop star celebrity out there right now.
For sure. The Rock I don't think The Rock has any influence. He's just popular.
No.
You know, like no one's culty for The Rock, but they're definitely culty for Taylor Swift. If Remy endorsed a candidate, the election would be decided already.
Remy's playing video games.
Yeah, gonna be really interesting. Gonna be fun to watch. Like I said, just watching Wolf Blitzer. Put on the glasses and stand in front of the imaginary screen. There is nothing like it.
I will say though, if Trump wins, I'm probably moving to Canada because Rachel wants to move to Canada if Trump wins.
Let's go.
So we'll be closer, Chris.
We just won't be allowed over the border.
Yeah, you will be. You will be closer. All right, love you guys. Go vote.
Vote like your daughter's lives depend on it. Your daughter's rights, whatever. That's why I wore blue today.
Speaking of your daughter, how's Darren.com?